Hi everyone, it's Andy from Hobby Headquarters. Well, I'm back to building model forts again. We just got a huge bunch of order in today, and I was just piling stuff everywhere in the store, and I thought I would just kind of take a couple of seconds to do an intro to this video, because in this video we're going to do a few breakdowns of some of the new kits that are coming out. From the new Ryefield model Sturm Tiger to the M3A1 Lee, the cast hull Lee. We also have the new Takom SMKs. You might not be able to see them. I'll probably put a little video flashing on of all the stuff that we got in today. And we also got in the new M60A1s with the explosive reactive armor in. Got a whole pile of those. We got in the new YAG Panthers, and then just lots and lots of restock of stuff that hasn't been available for the last couple of months from Takom, Ryefield, and Meng. We also got some of the Meng stuff in too, so very excited about that, as well as Kitty Hawk, as you can see here. So I have a lot of work to do. So what I'll do is I'm going to get most of this put away as much as I can and fit it in this store, and then we'll come back and we'll show you some of those new kits. So let's get started.
3 hours later.
Okay, so we got all that stuff put away. That was quite a bit of work we had to do. But what I've done now is I've taken one of each of the newest exciting kits out, and we're going to break apart almost all of them. The only ones I'm not going to be able to open, unfortunately, is this one right here to show all the parts, and this one. And that is because my pre-orders took up my entire amount of inventory. So when I get another batch of them in, then we'll be able to tear those open. But I have plenty of all these other ones here that we're going to open up each one of them and show you the parts, show you inside, and talk about it a little bit. So that should be a lot of fun. Plus also, I've been getting a lot of people, especially on our Facebook account, asking about t-shirts and stuff, and I wanted to tell you that if you're interested in getting Andy's Hobby Headquarters t-shirts, we have our Spreadshirt account right down in the description down below. You can check them out there. We've got all different types that you can help support the channel. Also, like I was mentioning, Facebook, we have our Facebook page, Andy's Hobby Headquarters, and we also have the Facebook page where you guys can show off all your models to me. And that was one called the Mediocre Modelers Club. And we've got over 10,000 people already on that, and just a great bunch of guys. It's a great place to show off all of your models and all that, and that way I can see all the work that you're doing. And you can also check us out on Instagram now. We just signed up recently for that, so that's also at Andy's Hobby Headquarters. So lots of cool and exciting things. So I've got a lot to show you right here, so let's get started. Okay, the first kit we're going to take a closer look at is the Takom 35th scale M60A1 with explosive reactive armor. First piece we're going to take a look at is the bathtub style hull that Takom has included. And as you can see, there is quite a bit of nice detail on this, including all the casting marks all over the entire hull. And all of this is just one big piece here. And then we're going to jump up to the upper part of the hull. And keep in mind too, after we get done showing all these parts and talking about all this, I will have the stills of all of the sprue shots afterward. That way if you want to take a closer look at any of them. Now we have the turret here, which is in two big pieces, plus all the little pieces that make up the smaller cupola turret. And then we've got a couple of sprues like this. These are the wheels. This is kind of interesting right here. They've molded this piece up right here all as one piece. And like I said, you get two sprues of that, one for each side. You've got some of the other accessory pieces. You've got your fenders here, some of the parts for the rear deck, and some of the other little accessories. The gun barrel is slide molded, so you're looking down in the barrel right there. So that should be pretty nice. And then it's just a matter of putting, I believe that's the recuperator right on top there, right into the barrel. And then you get a couple of other sprues. These are the ones for the reactive armor. You can see right here, that's quite a bit of little bracings, and I'm assuming this is all the bracing stuff that holds up the reactive armor. Yeah, based on these holes in the back here. And finally, we have the last little bit of accessory sprues, some of the grab handle stuff all over the place, gas cans, things like that. Our rubber bands, I'm going to get kind of a close-up look to you. I can't tell you how impressed I am with these tracks. The way they move and the way they feel, they are not like normal rubber band tracks. Now there's these little edge things that are here that you can just pop right off and cut off the little edge, but they are very, very nicely molded. And I was also looking too that when you go to put them together, you don't actually glue them. There is a metal pin that will slide these two together here, and you'll be able to pin them together just like that. So very impressed with the tracks on this kit. No need to have the individual tracks when you've got something that nice. You get a little sprue for the clear periscopes, a little bit of photo etch for the back of the racks, and then a decent sized set of decals. Okay, the next kit we're going to take a look at is also from Takom, and it's the 35th scale Soviet heavy tank SMK. And believe it or not, you guys should expect a video to come out on this, and that complete build video, because although it's an unusual tank, I think that's one of the reasons I'm kind of drawn to it. I think it'd be kind of really cool to do this as a build-up and, you know, beat it up, weather it, maybe even doing winter camouflage for a Russian armor, which I haven't done before. So let's take a look inside. Okay, the first thing we're going to take a look at is the upper hull. And this is built a little bit differently than some of the other tank kits out there, in that the sides are all molded into the upper hull. And the only thing that needs to be added is this the lower part right here that'll just glue right into place. And as you can see, this is a massive, massive tank. Multiple turrets, and I think that's one of the reasons it's drawn me to want to build this kit, is because it's just an unusual piece. Now we'll also take a look at the lower parts here. We've got our lower pan, our transmission plate up here, as well as our fenders. So once again, really massive piece. And then we come to some of the turret pieces. They've got kind of some unusual ways that some of those will go together. And our other turret piece here for the two sides, as well as the little ones here. As you can see, believe it or not, there is not a heck of a lot of parts that make up this kit as well. The gun barrels are all slide molded, as well as the hooks here, the tow hooks here. They're all slide molded as well. And then this thing is, now the tracks are individual tracks, and normally you're like, oh, I don't want to build all those tracks, but these actually do not look that bad. There's just two little connection points on it, and it looks like they might even, if they don't snap together, they're going to glue together pretty easily, because these Russian tracks are pretty basic and straightforward. So that's not turning me too much off to wanting to build this. And then we've got actually 3 sprues. Looks like all 3 of them are the same. Yeah, all 3 sprues of this, and this is going to make up all of the wheels, because as you can imagine, there are quite a bit of wheels on this, as well as suspension parts. And lastly, we have a photo etch screen, some metal tow cable right here, which you can see is pretty thick, so it's good that they did hollow those out completely. And finally, some simple yeah, there we go. That's right. Some simple decals for doing Russian Army stuff. So overall, it looks like it's going to go together pretty simply and easily, and that means that's more time to have some fun with the camouflage, which on the side of this, if we can show you this hopefully, there are some interesting looking camouflage patterns on this tank. And I love just the one that's even on the front, just of the snow-covered green. So we'll pick out one of those when we do decide to build that. Okay, now we're going to look at a massive, massive kit. This is the new Ryefield model Sturm Tiger, or Sturm Tiger, many of you may know it as. And this is a full interior kit. It's one of those massive box kits with, God, probably at least 1,000 parts, if not more, because it's got the full engine, fighting compartment, everything you can imagine. So we're going to take a quick look inside here and show you all the parts that go into this kit. Okay, we're going to just quickly take a look at the parts that go into this kit because there are so many of them. And of course, at the end of the this little section, we'll have all breakdown of the individual sprues. As you can see here, we're going to first look at the hull and some of the parts that make up. It looks like it's the hull right off of their late Tiger. And then, of course, we have this massive superstructure that they give you with some nice casting marks all over the front of the vehicle. You can see how massive it's going to be. This is going to be the front of the guns. Looks like they give you two different variants on it, as well as all the sides, pieces like that. And then we have the wheel portion of it, which are the regular Tiger 1 wheels, so nothing different about those. Now, when we get to the interior portion of this vehicle, this is the Tiger 1 sprues, of course, right off their other kit. So you're going to be getting all the interior parts right off of that. So the engine detail, transmission. It's kind of unusual that they did it all in this this gray color compared to the other color. And then you start getting to all of these parts as well, where we have these are actually Sturm Tiger parts, obviously, right here. And you've got some of the engine decks. All of this stuff opens up. And then lots and lots of stuff to make up the shells. You've got the warhead part right here, as well as all of the racks. And then they give you this little thing of tubes, which is the rest of the shell that makes up of it. And then over here, got more parts that are off of the regular Tiger kit, which some of these you probably will not use. And finally, some of the other parts, like the torsion bars. All of these parts are actually right off their Tiger with interior kit. So, and of course you also get a big thing of photo etch, which I'm not going to open right now because there's a lot of parts in there, but it's the typical Tiger grills, things like that, plus some of the floorboards. And the other thing I'm not going to open because there's a lot of parts is the tracks. So we have the individual tracks that you have right here. And then if you look really closely, because I don't want to lose any of these are all the individual pins that you'll put in there so make the tracks workable, as well as the individual guide horns. So lots and lots of parts that make up this kit. Now this kit retails for about $100 in the United States, but you can see this is actually probably equivalent to 2 or maybe even 3 kits of a regular kit. So take a look at the next part that has all the sprues. There's a few other ones of just some minor parts that I didn't show right now, but will be in the very end of the video. Now we're going to take a look at another Panther family vehicle that has just come out from Meng. This is the 35th scale Panther G1. So this is a late war Panther, so it doesn't require the Zimmerit on it. And with all of the new Panthers coming out, of course, we knew that eventually we would get some of these Panthers as well, which is great to see because there hasn't been one new kit of this for quite a long time. So let's take a look inside. Okay, let's take a look at all of the parts that make up the new Panther from Meng. To start off with, you can see that it's not a bathtub style hull. So we have a bottom pan, and then the sides of the hull are made up right in through here. They've got a alignment piece in here that you'll put on the inside. to line up all of the suspension arms that go out on it. And then you have like pieces like the transmission covers, things like that over here. And on to the next piece, we've got, this is always unusual too. I've noticed Meng has done this a few times, especially when we built their Panther A, how they've got these hollowed out pieces that you apply other pieces. They did that with the turret also. Makes for some nice, sturdy piece. I'm just not quite sure why they always do that. But we've got our side skirts right here, baskets in the back, and then we have right here, we have the front of the casemate, the back of the gun, most of the barrel of the gun. As you can see right here, a couple different mantlets. Lots of nice little parts in there. And then comes the superstructure, or the casemate on this. And this is made up of multiple parts too. So you saw the beginning part in there. And actually this is the actual gun barrel right here. Not quite sure what that other piece was on there, but here we have the gun barrel here for this. You know what that may have been? That may have been, no, it couldn't have been for the Panther either, because it had Panther parts on it. So we'll look into that later and see what that might be. And we've got our rear engine deck. And the wheels. Here are all of the wheels that we have here, and suspension arms and drive sprockets. Got 2 sprues of that, and then the tracks. And the tracks are made up of quite a few pieces right here. And this is the thing that always kind of slows me down a little bit, is that they're individual guide horns. Now the guide horns are hollowed out like they're supposed to be, and that looks great as a piece of detail. It's just a lot more work having to cut those out, glue them into place. Not impossible. It's going to take you a couple hours more than you probably would normally, but just a little bit extra work there. And then finally we have our pack of photo etch and decals, and as you can see, we've got all of the different screens. We've got the star antenna, some other little parts, and it's kind of hard to see behind here too, but they also have the side skirts. And I'm not opening these because I'm always worried about losing my photo etch parts when I'm going to do that. So we've got all of our side skirts are in a probably like a steel or aluminum, and then of course tow cables here as well that are all done up. And you also finally have some clear parts that are all the vision blocks, as well as the scope there. I can't think of what that's called. And finally, I almost forgot about this too. There are polycaps on here, which means that all of the wheels will be spinnable, which is probably going to help a little bit once we go to try to get those tracks into place. Okay, let's take a look at 2 new amazing hobby kits that come out. And we're kind of grouping these together, and that is because they actually share quite a few of the same parts. And we just want to take a quick peek at both of these. First one is the Amazing Hobby 35th scale Panzer 38D. And what this basically is, this is a Hetzer that they've upgunned with a Panzer IV Lang gun on it, with the mantlet and gun are right off of that they put on a Hetzer. I don't know if this actually would ever work. That's a pretty heavy gun for such a small vehicle. And then the other one we're going to take a look at is another Panzer Kampfwagen 38D. So they share the same lower hull and wheels and things like this. And what they've done on this is they've converted the upper top and then put a Panzer IV turret on it with an 8-centimeter gun. So an 80-millimeter gun with 3 baffles on the muzzle brake here. So quite an unusual looking piece, but I was trying to look around to see if there was actually ever any real ones. These are probably all just prototypes, but something new and excited from them. So let's take a look inside. We're going to take a look inside the first one, and we'll kind of show you that most of the parts are kind of shared between the two. Okay, to start off, we have our lower hulls, which are a little bathtub style hull. And this is the same hull in both kits, so you'll get that same piece in there. Now we're looking at the Panzer 38D, or the Hetzer type one. So you can see it's very, very similar to a Hetzer shape, but we have the much longer gun on this one, as well as the mantlet pieces, things like that. fenders on the side here. And then we have our wheel sprue, actually 2 of them. And these will both be shared in both of the kits as well. They are exactly the same. And I opened these up to show you guys, but these are the individual tracks. So you do have to cut them off. They're tiny little 38T tracks. But they should go together. I've had some work with the amusing hobby and had no problem at all with those. A little bit of work cutting them off though. And still on the Panzer 30AD, we have just a couple of other sprues, muffler, pieces like that. They also do give you a decent amount of photo etch with it too. These are going to be your side skirts on it. And you have the pieces that make up the little guards that go over like the muffler, things like that. And both of these kits are about $40, so very inexpensive. Oh, also almost forgot about all the decals again. So they're just generic decals that you can use and all that. And then just quickly, I'm just going to show you just a few of the other pieces out of the other one to show you what they look like. And this is the other sprue out of the regular tank version of it, and this is the only difference between the actual 2 kits. So you get an upper hull, kind of an unusual shape, and then a turret and the gun barrel, things like that. But both kits are under $40 and actually pretty cool little builds. Okay, the last kit we're going to take a closer look at is the new Takom 35th scale M3A1 Lee. And what's different about this one than the last couple of Lees that have come out is this is the cast hull Lee. So if you look on the top all right in through, this has all been cast as one big piece, as opposed to the individual slabs that the other Lee and Grant have. Okay, the first thing we're going to take a look at is the main difference between this and the other Lees that have been out on the market. And you can see right off the top, this is the cast hull, upper part of the hull I should say. Some real nice, see if we can get some close up on it there, see if you can see some of the texturing. And then we'll just quickly go through the other parts because a lot of them are shared between this and the other kit. You've got your lower hull here with all the rivet detail. You've got your turret. If I'm not mistaken, this is the exact same turret that's in the other kit. Our other sprues, we'll go quickly through. Now this is, you guys may have watched me build the Grant tank. I made the little bit of an error when we glued the tops of those pieces on upside down. And by the time I figured it out, it was already glued together. So that wasn't coming apart. And then the tracks, show you what those look like. They're link and length. So we've got the individual pieces here in the long runs, which really save you a lot of time when it comes to building those up. And then this is kind of unusual too on these sprues here. Move those out of the way. We've got all of these sprues, and there's a lot of gates that have been closed on these sprues. So you're only using small parts off of each one. So they've closed the gates off so you're not getting extra parts or anything that might confuse you. And then finally you've got a couple of wheel sprues and like the drive sprockets, things like that. So overall, I built the Grant, which shares, like I said, a lot of parts between the two of them. And this is actually one I wouldn't mind building myself down the road. We've got obviously a couple other kits ahead of it, but they go together very, very nicely, and they're not super difficult, especially with the link and link tracks. It really speeds up. And the final little thing, I'm not going to pull those out, is this is your photo etch and your couple of clear parts, and plus lots and lots of decals for this particular build. Well, there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed seeing a sneak peek into all of these kits right here. After talking and looking through all the different ones, there's at least 3 that you're going to see videos on, Probably the SMK and the M60 are going to be the first two, as long as something else new and exciting doesn't show up before that. But I think I'm going to start on the SMK probably tomorrow morning. It's been a long day, so not going to start tearing it apart now. But hey, I want to thank you guys as always for watching, and please stay tuned because we have many more videos coming.